And welcome back to WCCF Tech TV, everyone. This is Keith, and today we're finally taking a look at the gaming performance of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. So we took a look at an article earlier and took a look at the open beta performance, and now we're taking a look at the final product now that both vendors have their respective drivers out for the game, and the game is fully launched and has already received a good sized patch after a couple of days of release. And we took all of our results post that. We did use the in-game benchmark, and we used the high preset rather than using custom or something crazy, because this game's quite demanding and we wanted to give a good idea of realistic settings. This reminds me a lot of Deus Ex Mankind Divided in that respect, if you want to take a look back at our coverage of that game. Now, our test system is our X99 test system. We're using an Intel Core i7-6800K at 4.1 GHz with 32 GB of Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4 2666 MHz RAM on an Asus X99A-2 motherboard. And we got a Cooler Master V1200 Platinum power supply. Now, for a list of the full graphics cards that we used in this test, please hit the link in the description below for the article. As well as, before we get into the results, you'll want to go to that article anyway, just to get a little bit more in-depth look at the minimum side of the frame rates, because these charts were just simply too big to fit in the video. So we moved those over to the article and have a different set of graphs for the video. Still the same numbers, just not as detailed in the video. First off, taking a look at 1080p, what we see here is, well, they all seem to be doing pretty good. Now, that's where you're going to want to take a look at the article so you can see an expanded view of this graph to take a look at the minimums, because even though the 480 and the 1060 are only 4 FPS difference on average, you're going to see nearly half the minimums on the RX 480. But you know, that aside, moving up to 1440p, it's a similar story where GeForce kind of dominates towards the top. Sure, the Fury X and the Nano have the 980 now slotted in between them, but again, go ahead and look at that article, and you're going to see a big difference in those minimums rather than just the averages. Moving up to 4K, we see, this game's going to be a bear to run at 4K. I'm honestly going to say you're going to need 2 graphics cards with a solid Crossfire SLI support, and to be quite honest, I haven't checked SLI because I don't have 2 matching GeForce cards, but I do have a pair of 480s, and this game actually ran worse with Crossfire than it did with a single card. So I'm going to say avoid that like the plague, and 4K is kind of out of the question right now for most people, unless you've got, I'm going to go with at least a 1080 Ti or a Titan X Pascal, or a GTX 1080 that's heavily overclocked with a G-Sync monitor. But other than that, it's good to see that all of the cards have seen an improvement, and hopefully we'll see some more improvements on the Radeon cards, because their averages are perfectly fine. It's just the minimum 1% and 0.1% lows where those cards seem to suffer. But that's about it for today. Again, if you want a little bit more detailed information, go on over to the article, again, linked in the description below. This has been Keith with WCCF Tech, and we will see you all in the next video.